The pressure at the main event is at its peak level.
I'm all in. Call. What are you gonna do, man? I'm just a rookie.
Mark Newhouse has been here before.
All in.
He knows the pressure's on everyone else.
Last year was very exciting. First time I've been that deep. I feel like I played pretty well leading up to the final table.
14 players remain for a final table with 9 reserved spots. The question everyone is asking, can Mark Newhouse really make back-to-back main event final tables?
It's no secret, guys. I'm raising every hand. Not gonna try to hide it. Feeling great. Can't let the pressure get to me.
That's your Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast, presented by Gentleman Jack. 14 players on the precipice of the most prestigious final table poker has to offer. Hi, everyone. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. $10 million to the winner of the main event, but there's business at hand first. At an outer table action on Oscar Kemp's, the short stack in the room.
14 big blinds left.
King Jack. And the Dutchman living in Belgium raises all in for almost $3.5 million.
Who would want to knock out Oscar Kemp's?
Does William Tonking with ace-5 suited? No. How about fellow Dutchman Jorik van Hoof? Yeah, I think so, with pocket aces.
You could have thought about it a little longer.
Ouch, indeed. Kemp's at risk, getting ready for his exit.
If I have to lose to anybody, I'd rather it be you, but I still want to win.
Likewise.
Hold on. This is a tougher one, though. I might need a couple extra braces for that. This is not a 10-9 ace-king scenario. Still going to do this, though. Work last night.
As you mentioned, Kemps was born in the Netherlands but moved to Belgium. Van Hoof, a Dutch native, has never forgiven him for that.
Here is the flop. Queen 7, queen not good for Kemp's. Things just went from bad to worse.
Yeah, the amateur now is going to need runner to stick around.
The turn card is the 4 of clubs. Kemp's comes up empty, drawing dead, done with the main event.
Oscar Kemp's finishes 14th, but in my book, he's the winner of the guy I'd most like to have a beer with, if he pays.
His second main event cash worth almost 10 times his first from 2012. Van Hoof accelerates a little further from the field, working with over 33 million now. We're down to 13. At the feature table, Newhouse is the feature story.
This guy's still around? I would have figured he'd bluff off all his chips on day one. Huh, who knew?
His cash game buddy, Luis Velador, sitting comfortably in third.
The Southern California pro is the oldest player left in the field at 51. I'm surprised they didn't card him and just throw him out.
Bruno Politano has most of Brazil seemingly here in the Amazon room.
Most of Brazil cannot be here, Lon. There's not enough parking.
Van Hoof and Felix Stevenson with huge stacks right now. Newhouse in 7th. First-timer Billy Pappas in 9th.
Nobody guaranteed a November 9 spot yet, but Van Hoof and Stevenson already have ordered seat cushions for that final table.
McCorkle and Max Simp need double-ups.
Both hanging around 20 big blinds. Not a good place to be hanging around right about now.
We are constantly reminded that sports is all about the stories. Now, with just 13 players remaining, we are on the cusp of one of the best stories in a long time. Mark Newhouse in prime position to outlast the starting field of 6,683 players to make his second straight main event final table.
Action Dan Harrington, impressively, was the last to go back-to-back at main event final tables in 2003 and 2004. But what were massive fields at that time are minuscule compared to today. Mark Newhouse is 4 knockouts away from main event immortality. If he becomes a back-to-back November 9er, it puts him on a very short list of greatest main event achievements. Seeing is believing. He just might make us all believers.
4 eliminations from the November 9, and Mark Newhouse has about twice as many chips now as he did when he made last year's final table. Yeah, he's feeling the pressure, Norman.
Well, that didn't sound like a top 40 hit, but you never know.
You see the blinds at 120,000, 240, a 40K Addy. Luis Velador, the oldest in the field at 51. He folds to the youngest, 22-year-old, Andoni Larabe from Spain. He raises to $500,000 with ace-10. Around to Mark Newhouse now on the button, jack-10 of hearts.
Yeah, like 9, 8, something like that. I call.
And you heard the call, small blind. Bruno Politano, 7 deuce of spades.
Politano lives in Fortaleza, 5th largest city in Brazil, one of the host cities of the 2014 World Cup, and apparently also the home of a lot of 7 deuce savants.
What is to noodle here for the Brazilian? A raise and a call in front of him. Oh, I see. A re-raise to $1.58 million.
Politano looks like a tight player from what we've seen, and then he does this.
Accent folds.
Politano senses weakness around the table.
Larabe, the original raiser. Larabe folds his ace-10. Newhouse with jack-10 now.
Politano senses weakness. Newhouse senses opportunity. Tight players look for reasons to fold. Mark Newhouse is not a tight player.
And Mark Newhouse is going to come along for a little over $1 million more.
Maybe this is an Ivy poker training video. How to play 7 deuce out of position when Phil Ivey is no longer in the field.
Heads up, Politano with 7 deuce. He should hide under that hoodie. Here is the flop and middle pair for Politano to take the lead. Newhouse flops a gut shot.
Yeah, it is fun making a move pre-flop with 7 deuce, but now you've got to play it out of position. It's like getting into a plane to skydive. Sounds great. Then you have to jump.
With middle pair, he is going to bet $1,350,000.
Since Politano 3-bet pre-flop, Newhouse can't figure he connected with that flop. Newhouse here, though, just has jack high and the gut shot.
But Newhouse can connect with a lot of flops, and everyone here knows that.
I call.
Newhouse makes the call.
Well, if Mark's calling there, he just might pounce on the turn if Politano checks it.
Turn card. 4 of hearts misses both.
Another small card shouldn't scare Politano.
He does check it to Newhouse.
Is Newhouse going to pounce?
No. Free look at the river card. Another Trey. Politano's hand turns out to be the best. Politano checks again, and now Newhouse with a busted straight draw.
This looks like a tough river card to bluff. Clubs didn't get there, no big cards on the board. But Newhouse knows jack high can't win at showdown.
Mark Newhouse, if nothing else, loves to put pressure on his opponent, and the pressure is worth $2.25 million here.
Much?
He started with 7 deuce, flopped to 7.
Newhouse makes it look like a value bet. And Politano will ask himself, as Antonio Esfandiari has taught us, does Newhouse's story make sense here? Of course, he's asking himself in Portuguese.
It's a bluff.
Yes, it is a bluff disguised as a value bet, but I cannot tell you that, Bruno.
And now, Bruno going through his calculations.
Actually, now it looks like he's trying to remember the recipe for coq au vin.
The Brazilians waiting to explode on the rail.
A call here would be for about 20% of his remaining stack.
And what a call it would be. There it is.
Oh. You got it.
You got it, Bruno. What a hand by the Brazilian. And a huge hit at the worst time for Mark Newhouse. Bruno says, no, not in my house. He's got a 4th place stack. Newhouse handed away over a 1/3 of his. A big call by Politano cues the Brazilian celebration. Imagine if he makes the final table. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack Tennessee Whiskey, the Order of Gentlemen, and in part by the WSOP social game on Facebook and mobile. Sit and go tournaments are starting right now. Download for free. So many come to Las Vegas with a dream, and as day 7 reaches its conclusion, 13 poker players on the cusp of realizing their dream. Among them, first-timer Billy Pappas, one of the best foosball players in the world, with a real shot at being a world champ in a second sport.
I started playing foosball when I was 7 years old. When I grew up playing, my mom's boyfriend, we used to play all day, and we used to go to tournaments in New York. We drove to Cleveland, Atlanta, all over the U.S. And so I developed playing, and I just never stopped. I've won a lot of world championships, national. He taught me well. Once you get to the next level, it's actually a bit like poker, is you have to know your opponents. And that got me to being one of the best. My skills were kind of natural, but the next level is still knowing your opponent in practice. This is my first ever World Series of Poker event in general. Up until 6 months ago, I was a dealer, and I've been playing a little bit, and I decided to come to the World Series and hopefully do what I'm doing. Being a dealer, coming to play and do this has been my dream since 2005, and at some point I was like, okay, it's never gonna happen, but I'm fortunate enough to be here right now.
Pappas had planned to go to Austria for a foosball tournament, but a buddy offered to back him in the main event. Billy's foosball partner told him to go for it because she said it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Billy fortunate to have kings against the 9s of Swede Martin Jacobson, who opened the pot. And now Pappas re-raises to $1,350,000. Christopher Graves with ace-queen.
Pappas was a foosball wizard. Graves was a world-class bridge player as a kid.
The amateur from Indiana, Graves, shoves for almost $8.5 million.
Who would want to knock out Billy Pappas or Chris Graves?
Jacobson folds. Pappas with a shorter stack, calls all in.
Yeah, they have almost identical stacks. Graves with 150,000 more chips than Pappas.
Nice. King's got him covered. First time in the whole tournament. One time.
On this hand, one amateur's dream will continue, and one amateur's dream will be shattered.
All right, here's our flop. Graves trying to knock out Pappas, but he needs help. 10-7 deuce. Pappas still good with his kings.
Graves looks like he's trying to will an ace onto that board.
Turn card is a queen. That pairs Graves, gives him a couple more outs.
Better than a jack.
More outs.
No, it's not.
They await their fate. Graves needs an ace or a queen.
The river card is a jack. And Pappas will double up to almost 18 million. Graves shaking hands, but he's got a few chips left.
Fan interaction after big hands is nice. Wouldn't it be cool to see Richard Sherman do this between plays?
Graves is left with half of a big blind.
Well, he's got a chip and a chair, so he ought to sit down.
And how about this main event rookie on the virtual final table in 6th place at the moment, Billy Pappas. To the Newhouse saga once again, under 10 million now, with ace-9 facing an all-in of over 4 million from Craig McCorkle with king-5 of clubs.
McCorkle pushed with 13 big blinds left. A call would be for more than 40% of Newhouse's stack. If he calls and loses his hand, he'd be under 20 big blinds.
Mark Newhouse definitively makes the call to the big blind. Bruno Politano.
Well, he can be a little aggravating. Just look at your cards, buddy.
Give me aces, he says. 7. Ooh, pocket 7s.
Oh, I fold.
He folds. So McCorkle, the British bracelet-winning pro, on the hook.
Yeah, McCorkle gets a small break there. He's a 3-2 underdog to Newhouse. If Newhouse folded and Politano called, he'd be a 2-1 dog to Bruno.
So McCorkle looking to double through. He's got 2 live cards against Mark Newhouse's ace-9.
Don't strike up the band yet.
Every hand is huge. Here's the flop. There's a 7. All diamonds. Politano would have hit a set, but Newhouse has a flush draw.
McCorkle will be buried now against Politano. He still has life against Newhouse.
Turn card, another 10. Does not help McCorkle. Mark still ahead. Bruno would have hit a full house.
McCorkle needs a non-diamond king or 5 to survive.
The river's another 4. Mark's ace kicker will play, and that means the end has come for Craig McCorkle out in 13th. Yeah, big sigh of relief from Mark.
Well, McCorkle, his 11th World Series cash, his second main event cash in 3 years.
And the band plays on as Newhouse goes into 7th place. Newhouse inching closer to hallowed ground here in Vegas. There was 9th place finish from last year, still stings. He's kept a clear head throughout this year's main event.
As improbable as back-to-back November 9s seem, this is the 4th time in 6 years someone's made a big run at it. Dennis Phillips was 3rd in 2008, then 45th in 2009. Joseph Chung was 3rd in 2010, 114th in 2011, and Steve G was 9th in 2012, 24th in 2013.
Newhouse raises with deuces. Politano with king-jack offsuit makes the call.
Of course, Dan Harrington, the last to make back-to-back main event final tables in 03 and 04. Greg Raymer won it all in 04, then was 25th in 05. Joseph Hashem won in 05, then was 238th in 06.
Villador folds his big blind, so heads up Newhouse with the deuces. Politano with king-jack offsuit. And here is the flop, and there's a deuce, of course.
Lon, I have no idea why Mark Newhouse is playing poker. He should become a professional scratch-off lottery player.
Right? Mark acts normally and makes a continuation bet as expected, 750.
I would say Bruno missed that flop, but I don't have the best angle from where we're sitting.
3 beige chips, and Politano makes the call with 2 overcards to the board.
Yeah, I don't know about that call.
Jack of diamonds, Politano drawing dead even though he caught top pair.
You know, sometimes you trust your read too much. Bruno was buoyed by his 7-deuce call. I trust my stepson to pack his backpack, but doesn't mean I trust him to walk to school by himself. All reads are different.
Newhouse bets $1.75 million. And by the way, isn't your stepson in college?
Yeah, but you know, I'm a very overprotective step-parent.
Politano now.
Well, if Bruno didn't believe Mark before, that jack does give him added incentive to stick around.
And he does stick around.
Politano drawing dead like me at the Playboy Mansion.
Ace of hearts, and that might kill some of Mark's action.
Newhouse can make this river bet with nearly 100% certainty. He's got the best of it. Spades didn't get there. 6-7 didn't get there.
The history between these two, perhaps a factor in this hand. How much does Mark think he can get? A big bet worthy of a big hand, $4 million.
Okay, you got lucky.
You're always guessing with Newhouse. Bruno knows he guessed right last time when Mark fired on the river with Squadouche. But when your opponent bets 3 times and you just have second pair, you better be darn sure he's bluffing before you call that last bet.
Oh, can you bluff me again? Can you try to bluff me again?
Bruno's already got $3 million in the pot. If he calls here, that's $7 million total he'll have in. He started the hand with $18 million.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, Mark, what?
No action yet. Mark has him befuddled. Politano looked ready to call, but he's having second thoughts. Back with his decision right after this. Back inside the Amazon room where Bruno Politano is still deciding whether or not to call Mark Newhouse's river bet. Mark with a set of deuces, Politano with just second pair.
Politano looks like he's running all types of numbers in his head. And I've always found doing math in Portuguese more difficult than doing math in English.
Mega confiante, tá ligado? Assim.
I think he just said something about Newhouse's family.
I call.
He makes the call, and he'll have to pay him off. What a pot for Mark Newhouse. The LA Pro has rebounded very strongly.
Yeah, that pot just might carry Mark Newhouse to another November 9.
Sad Scooby-Doo. Uh-oh. And just like that, Mark Newhouse's wild ride continues. He's parked in 5th place. Politano down to 8th. He shouldn't feel bad. Many a poker player have failed to solve the Mark Newhouse puzzle. All right, let's go to the other table. From the plentiful of Newhouse to the paltriness of Chris Graves. You see he has 3% to survive his all-in against Martin Jacobson.
This doesn't seem like a fair fight.
Jacobson flopped top pair. Graves wondering about his payout. Cash, check, or chips. 10 of diamonds on the turn. No miracle for Chris. He is out of the main event in 12th.
Rule number 1 of the main event, software developers from the Indianapolis area never make the final table. Given that, very nice finish.
His third main event results in a monster payday. What a run for Graves.
What to do, what to do, what to do. There's got to be a bar near here somewhere.
Word has spread to the feature table. We're down to 11 now. Newhouse raised under the gun with trays. Max Senft with king, queen of diamonds, thinking about it.
Senft, 24-year-old Austrian student.
He's now the tournament short stack.
All in.
And he says all in for almost $5 million.
He's pushing with 16 big blinds left.
Larabe folds his big blind back to Newhouse.
4.925.
Newhouse can put Politano's chips to work here comfortably.
And there he does make the call. Senft at risk. He's got 2 big overcards with diamonds against the trays of Newhouse.
I've joked about Senft trying to fold his way to the final table. Frankly, down the stretch, he hasn't been able to pick up many hands.
Mark Newhouse on a rush, trying to get stronger. And oh, another set for Newhouse!
At least Senft's got bank robbery to fall back on.
He needs both the turn and river to stay alive.
Well, actually, I don't even know why they put a board out there. Once Newhouse called the all-in, they should just invoke the mercy rule and declare the hand over.
The hand is over. Senft drawing dead on the turn. Newhouse scores the knockout, continuing to show amazing resiliency. Senft out in 11th place for over $565 grand.
$500,000 for folding all week? It's nice work if you can get it.
Newhouse scores the knockout to bring this main event down to a single table. 1 table of 10 now, 1 table of 9 tomorrow night. Some fist bumps, a little celebration, but there's still work to be done. 1 more elimination until we have our November 9. Will Mark Newhouse make history? Welcome back to the 2014 World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. The mothership is packed. The featured table is packed. Just 1 elimination until we have our November 9. Billy Pappas, the only first-timer left.
This fella is the main event personified. If he makes the November 9, everybody wins.
Mark Newhouse with a healthy 3rd place stack.
If this guy makes back-to-back November 9s, I will, why even bother at this point?
And there's the chip leader from the Netherlands, Jorrit van Hoof.
Trying to give the Netherlands a November 9er for the 2nd straight year following McKeel Brimmelhouse.
The leaders are important, but everyone is watching the short stacks, Larabe and Tonking.
It's the old game of musical chairs on the biggest bubble in poker, and if you're standing when the music stops, you are a forgotten and forlorn man.
Lose all your chips now, walk away with $565 grand, but there's a $10 million carrot up top if you need extra motivation.
There was no final table bubble boy the first couple of years of the main event because everyone started at the final table. 6 entrants in 1971, 8 in 72.
Of course, in the very first year of the World Series in 1970, no final table. Champion determined by a vote of all the players. Johnny Moss was the winner. Under the gun, Martin Jacobson, ace-jack of clubs.
Very accomplished tournament player. 4 World Series final tables.
Raise.
The dealer announces raised, but I don't think Martin has the right denominations out there.
Hold on. Hold the action. Just call.
So they're making it just a call for $300,000.
By the way, that was World Series Dealer of the Year, Andy Tillman. Frankly, I think the Dealer of the Year thing has gone to his head. He's dealing with a lot more attitude now.
One of these players will join the likes of John Hewitt, Jordan Smith, and Don Barton as main event 10th place finishers. Action on William Tonking. Jack 9 in the small blind. He wants to play, he limps in. In the big blind, Dan Sindelar checks his option, 3 for a bargain. And here is our flop. 7, 8, 10, 2 clubs. Tonking with a jack high straight. He checks it to Sindelar, middle pair with a gut shot. And he's reaching for chips, bets a $500,000. Jacobson with flush and straight draws.
If Jacobson raises under the gun as he intended to, Tonking likely would have folded. Instead, they're now on a massive collision course that could define the November 9.
Jacobson obviously loves his hand with straight and flush draws. Unfortunately, he's run into Tonking, who flopped a straight. But there is a raise to $1,750,000.
So the 2% hand bets and the second worst hand raises. Lon, this is a game I need to be in. A dream scenario for the short stack that still could turn into a nightmare for William Tonking.
All in.
And Tonking announces all in. Sindelar folds.
Jacobson's got 20 million. This is for 15% of his stack. He's not going anywhere.
I call. Martin calls with his draws to win or chop. Tonking is the one on the hook.
So sick that you didn't raise. Wow. It's so sick that you didn't raise and then this flop comes.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that happen?
Pretty brutal to flop the nuts and only be 56%. Tonking's got to fade Jacobson's hand, and an entire group of players and railbirds here who want to see him knocked out, so we have our November 9.
What a moment.
This is probably the right flush draw to fade.
Tonking has to sweat it. 5 of diamonds. Jacobson still looking for that knockout card.
Jacobson a lot more relaxed than Tonking, understandably. If Jacobson hits a club, Tonking is gone, and we have our November 9.
The river card is a diamond! And so Tonking secures the pot. We continue 10-handed.
Nice time. Thanks. Boo!
How's that feel to fade the entire room?
Yeah.
Well put by Dan Sindelar. Tonking had to fade the entire room.
Sorry, guys.
Nice hand.
At least if I busted, I got it in with the nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to say anything?
William Tonking keeps us 10-handed for now. Welcome back to the main event. Huge paydays guaranteed for the remaining 10 players, but everyone gunning for the $10 million first place prize.
Tonking, Larabi, and Politano are the short stacks, but everybody's got at least 30 big blinds, so nobody's in desperation mode.
All right, let's go down to Kara Scott right now, who's with an interested observer who's also a friend of Mark Newhouse's.
Mike the Grinder Mizrahi is 9th on the all-time money list, and he has been in this situation. Talk to us about the emotion right now that they're going to be feeling down there.
Well, I'm sure Mark could describe it to you, but it's just you know, when you're very experienced, as for Mark, and he's been in the situation before, it's like, you know, just be patient, and it looks like Mark has a great position on the chip leaders now, so he's got no worries, and you know, it's the biggest stage in poker, making the main event final table, especially November 9. A lot of these guys haven't experienced what Mark's experienced, and actually got 2 friends in there. Got Louis Velder, 2 really good friends, and Mark Newhouse. But I don't think they'll be worried. They're professionals, and I expect Mark or Louis to hopefully come first and second, both of them.
Okay, thanks so much for talking to us.
Newhouse raised with pocket 7s. Dan Sindelar re-raised with jacks. Back on Newhouse.
Newhouse appears to be crushed here, but we know he's actually a huge favorite to win this hand.
What are you playing, roughly?
17.
17 million, that's a pretty good stack. Newhouse has 25 million, but somebody with 17 million can hurt him.
You got to help me with these chips. Is that
yeah, Mark is going to make that call.
Is that right? Okay.
Having the same trouble that Martin Jacobson had earlier. Trying to figure out the denominations of these chips. Heads up, Sindelar with the jacks against the 7s of Newhouse. Here is the flop, and no set for Newhouse. What's going on? Sindelar's jacks still lead.
Sindelar's dad and brother ran a large cattle and farming operation in Nebraska when he was growing up, and Dan would help out in the summers.
$1.2 million from Sindelar.
Newhouse, of course, has never even seen a farm in his life.
He calls. Turn card now, King of Diamonds. Sindelar still good.
Sindelar has 2 older sisters, Julie with a degree in international business, Karen working on a doctorate in nursing. They're both smarter than he is.
Well, he looks pretty smart betting with those jacks with 2 overcards out there. 2.7 million.
That's 2.7 million.
If Newhouse were on a farm, he would know he's now standing neck deep in the wheat fields.
Pocket 7s into the muck. Sindelar showing some giddy up there, and he'll take that pot.
The local pro by way of Nebraska feeling good.
Nice little boost to Sindelar's stack. He moves up a spot to 5th place. Mark Newhouse entered a pot and didn't win. How about that? Back on day one, 6,683 bought in for 10 grand each, and now just 10 remain. Newhouse, a huge story. Pappas, a huge story.
Pappas brings to mind Walter Ray Williams Jr., world champion in bowling and horseshoes. For Pappas, foosball, and maybe poker.
Sorry, what's your name?
Mark.
Newhouse. Billy.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mark already played the final table of the WSOP.
I've heard. Sorry, I have no idea.
Listen, Billy is world champion in another sport.
Oh, yeah? What sport?
My game. Foosball.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome as well, huh?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I'm a world champion.
Really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
World champion?
Awesome.
That's a trip.
We got to play sometime.
The secret's out.
Absolutely.
It's all good, buddy.
Jacobson with pocket sevens.
That's a 650, right?
Confirming with Sindelar, yeah, that's 650, and that's a raise. Politano, 10 tray suited into the muck. To Pappas now with ace-queen.
I wonder if there are different surfaces in foosball, like the French Open of foosball, the Wimbledon of foosball. And is there an ace-queen in foosball?
Yeah, right. There are several brands of championship tables. Billy's a tornado guy, by the way.
Tornado.
And Billy with ace-queen re-raises to $1,425,000.
The main event's a grind, but Billy Pappas says he doesn't get tired here because he's used to foosball tournaments, which are 14 hours a day on your feet for several days.
Newhouse messily folds. The ace of hearts is exposed. So action now back to Jacobson.
Jacobson trying to become the first Swede to make the main event final table since Chris Bjorn in 1997. Bjorn tied for 6th all-time in World Series cashes. Bjorn and Jacobson, both born in Sweden, both moved to London.
Jacobson made the call. We're heads up. King, Jack, Trey. Jacobson ahead still with the sevens. Pappas picks up a Broadway draw. Jacobson checks.
Of course, Bruno Politano trying to become the first Brazilian to make the main event final table.
1.8.
Lon, what happened to the Canadians? A record 10 bracelets in 2013. None this year.
Persona non grata Canadienne.
I think they got too cocky.
And now Pappas comes out with his draw for $1,008,000.
Pappas was rather aggressive earlier in the main event, again showing his aggressive side right now.
Martin folds. Pappas will drag the pot. Now he sits just shy of $20 million. A world champ in 2 different games. It just could very well be. Billy Pappas makes good use of that scary board to take down the pot. We started tonight's action with 14 players and quickly got down to 10. Bruno Politano got the best of Mark Newhouse.
Michael.
And then Mark got the best of him right back.
Sorry, guys.
Before talking, kept us 10-handed. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. We are 10-handed at the main event. To be so close and get shut out would be crushing Carlos Mortensen, the bubble boy last year.
And Carlos would love to have that last hand back from last year against J.C. Tran.
Our chip leader, Jorrit van Hof from the Netherlands. With Jack 10 offsuit, raises to $700,000. Mark Newhouse, November 9er from last year, on the button with ace 10.
9th a year ago. He does not want to finish 9th or 10th this year.
And he does call his buddy, Luis Velador, in the small blind with Jack 10.
Luis plays cash in Los Angeles and San Diego. Loves pot limit Omaha, which is Felix Stevenson's favorite game.
He folds to Andoni Larabe, the Spanish pro, gets out of the way, so we're heads up. 2 of the 3 biggest stacks. Here's the flop, King 10-4, pair of 10s for both. Newhouse with top kicker.
Van Hof with the bigger stack, Newhouse with position. And have we mentioned we're on a big bubble?
Yeah, isn't it though? Get knocked out now, you have no shot at $10 million. Van Hof with his pair of 10s bets $1,050,000.
The million indicates he has middle pair. The 50,000 indicates he has a decent kicker. It's as plain as day.
Just a call with Mark's pair of 10s.
Something tells me Newhouse has the messiest apartment west of the Mississippi.
Queen now both with Broadway draws. Van Hof also open-ended.
Van Hof missed the start of day 1 here. He woke up that morning, did yoga, meditation, and ate some breakfast, then saw in a poker magazine he was supposed to be playing. It's a good thing he reads.
Van Hof with, wow, a lot of those base chips appear to be in position. And they go in the middle. Go big. Over $4.5 million.
Well, $4 million indicates he has a pair of 10s. $50,000 indicates he has a decent kicker. And the $500,000 indicates he has an up and down straight draw. It's as plain as day.
Well, Newhouse cannot read the road signs. He gives up the best hand, and Von Ho flexes his muscle and takes the pot.
Well done by the 31-year-old. And there he goes again with the excessive celebration. I thought he had been warned.
So the big stack gets a little bigger, this time at the expense of Mark Newhouse. Von Ho, born in the Netherlands, now lives in London. He's played a lot of poker, but this is by far his best result.
He started day 5 here, 282nd in chips out of 291. He then started day 6, 15th out of 79. What a difference a day makes. And now he's chip leader when it most counts.
Von Ho opening the pot with Jack 10 of spades makes it $800,000 to Luis Velador with ace king.
Good time for ace king.
Newhouse dropped a 5th after that last hand. Luis calls.
He'll play it sneaky.
And now Larabe with 2 black aces.
Not a good time for ace king. Larabe, youngest player left at age 22. The short stack at the moment with 33 big blinds.
Boy, talk about getting a prayer answered. A raise and a call in front of him.
All in.
And yeah, all in for an even $10 million. So folded back around to Von Hof. Jack 10 suited in the muck. Velador now.
Remember, we saw Velador lay down ace-king earlier on day 7 pre-flop when he decided he didn't want to likely flip against Felix Stevenson, who had pocket queens. If he didn't want to flip there, I definitely see no reason he'd want to flip here on the November 9 bubble. And of course, here it turns out he's crushed. If Luis loses his hand, he would become the short stack. He knows he's behind right now. I know he thinks he underrepresented his hand by just calling with ace-king, but there's no way Larabe, the short stack, goes all in here with less than a big pocket pair.
There is the call with half his stack. Wow! And Velador in a world of hurt.
Even aces against ace king is not easy now.
Velador's played great poker for 7 days. That was not a great moment for him. 10-handed on the November 9 bubble. I believe you have to lay that down.
Luis has to crack the aces to get us to 9. Here is the flop, 5-8 king. He got a king. That's a little help.
In Luis's defense, he figured he was flipping there, and he knows if he wins, the November 9 would be set, and he'd be 3rd in chips.
Ace.
Turn card. With the crowd calling for this night to be over. Another 8, no help to Velador.
And even if Velador loses here, he'll still have more than 30 big blinds. I still think he made a big mistake.
Larabe 1 street from glory or the gutter.
Only a king knocks out Larabe.
The river card, a 6. Larabe is one of the big stacks now. Velador, the short stack.
Thank you, man.
Larabe got 2 gifts there, pocket aces and Velador's call with ace-king.
It was the best hand that can call me ace-king. The best hand, because he has like jacks or something, then it's...
Luis Velador now sits with $10 million after losing half his stack. Andoni Larabe probably would have been happy just to take down the pot without a call, but he got a huge double up instead. For his all-in move, Larabe gets tonight's Gentleman Jack right move, a move that puts the 22-year-old over 21 million chips. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack Tennessee Whiskey, the Order of Gentlemen, and in part by the WSOP Circuit Tour. First the ring, then the bracelet. For the official schedule and events in your area, visit WSOP.com. Well, Brian Reese's reign as main event champion almost over. Tomorrow night, a new final 9 will try to fill his shoes. Jorrit van Hof, the top stack. Luis Velador, the short stack, now down to 6.2 million.
Even though you're the short stack, I'm rooting for you, man.
I know.
Michael the Grinder Mizrachi knows full well what these 10 finalists are feeling. Action on Brazilian Bruno Politano with pocket tens. The blinds are up to 200, 400,000.
If Bruno makes the final table, they should move the November 9 to Rio in Brazil to accommodate all his people.
Well, they've got every other major event this year. Politano with the tens raises to 900,000.
Amazingly, Politano now the second oldest player remaining at 31. Velador the oldest by far at 51.
Fold, fold, fold. Around two, Mark Newhouse on the button with pocket fives. Look out, Mark. Velador, you see, already peaked at his pocket fours. Mark with a call. Velador now.
And of course, Velador now the short stack, and he didn't have to be on the bubble in that spot against Larabe. I think he got to lay down ace-king.
Wondering what Politano's up to with his opening raise.
And now one mistake may lead to another here.
Luis Velador thinking about these fours.
All in.
And he says all in for over 6.1 million. Now back to Bruno with the best hand.
Well, I think Luis is tilting a little here, Lon. I expect him to find a better spot to push than pocket fours with two players already in the pot. Velador, though, down to 15 big blinds.
Politano, if it's just himself and Velador, he probably calls pretty quickly, but Newhouse in the mix, you never know, and the tens go in the muck.
Well, that was for about half of Bruno's remaining chips. It's a tight fold, but I guess he decided he didn't want to risk a lot on a flip, or maybe one of them even had him crushed with a bigger pair.
Now talk about a decision. Mark Newhouse with pocket fives.
Newhouse told Velador he's rooting for him. They're friends, but there are no friends in poker in terms of these decisions. Mark wants Luis to make the final table, but Mark thinking about stopping him from making it right now.
This is where you have to separate business from friendship.
Friends or no friends, this is a tough decision. It's for nearly 1/3 of Mark's stack.
Newhouse somehow makes the call and is in great shape to pave his own way into poker history. Luis's son, Luis Jr., sees his dad is in trouble.
You have tens? Oh my God. Yeah.
Coolers. He's got fives, I got fours. Newhouse and probably on the brink of back-to-back main event final tables, trying to knock out his buddy Luis Velador.
Mark was true to himself with that call. Here's the flop, 6 ace ace. Two aces and an overcard to both.
Yeah, not the worst flop for Velador. He's got some chop options now.
Luis Velador trying to find some way to hang on. The tray will not do it.
Yeah, chop possibilities are over.
Here comes the six, doesn't play.
Newhouse, one card from another main event final table.
That's a brutal turn too.
Mark Newhouse, one card from history. With his brother looking on.
And now Mark Newhouse only needs to dodge a river 4 to make another main event final table.
The river card is an ace, that will do it. We have our November 9. Velador out in 10th.
That's the best misclick of my life.
Let the celebration begin.
I'm going to go celebrate Mark's achievement in the LA River. A field of 6,300 last year, a field of 6,600 this year, back-to-back final tables.
Mark Newhouse with a stunningly remarkable back-to-back performances, and the Brazilians doing what Brazilians love to do. Von Hof will go as the chip leader, but it's Mark Newhouse in third that really turns heads.
The odds of making back-to-back November 9s with the starting field sizes the last 2 years, 1 in 524,000. Wow.
Time for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. Here's Kara with Mark Newhouse.
You've had an amazing run all of the way through this. What sticks out to you as being kind of the main defining moment of the main event so far?
I don't know. There's been so many. I've been all over the place. Today, yesterday, everywhere. From short stack to chip leader.
Well, talk about having to make that call against your friend here to go to the November 9.
That's actually something that was going through my mind. I don't want to bust Louis. Like, oh my God. Like, I mean, but it's the main event, final table. What are you going to do? There's no friends here. You know, even though he's the short stack, usually you root against the short stack. I was rooting for him. He's my friend. I didn't want to be the one to do it, but we're playing poker.
Exactly, and we're going to see you at the final table, third in chips. Thanks so much.
Yep.
After 7 grueling days of play, the November 9 has arrived with a very familiar face. Mark Newhouse, last year's 9th place finisher, is back. Tomorrow night, it's the live final table at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you again in less than 24 hours.